So to answer your question, a resounding yes, it's a good idea to write a book for your business, about your business, and sharing your stories. You can share stories about your clients and the results they've gotten, all
Mm.
from the relationship they've had with you.
So today we are talking all about books. We have Fred Moskowitz with us today. He has written a book, The Little Green Book of Note Investing. And then he has some compilation anthology books he's been involved in. So we're going to dive deep with him today and talk about his author journey. Hey, Fred, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Melanie. It's great to be here.
So tell us, what made you inspired to write a book in the first place?
Yeah, great question. I've been involved as an investor, specifically in mortgage note investing for a very long time. And I was doing a lot of speaking at different conferences and industry events.
Hmm.
And I noticed that people were always asking me about, hey, how can we learn from you? Do you teach? And I love teaching. I really enjoy it. I do a fair amount of workshops and events. And I was thinking I'd love to have a way where I could share some of my strategies and tips and give more of an introduction to what I do, to how to invest in mortgage notes. I think it's an asset class that a lot of people could find interesting to get involved with and benefit from it. It's a great way to diversify your income. And I wanted to share that with a wider audience. So I decided to write a book that really lays out a bit of a roadmap for someone starting out. It talks about, hey, here's all the different things you would want to consider beforehand and how to go about it, how to get a general overview of the industry, how it works, and how to get started. And it's been a wonderful journey. It's been really rewarding for me, the process of writing the book and getting it published and then sharing that with the world. But a benefit that I've found is that people are starting to learn about me through my book before they ever
Yeah.
met me in person, which is really an interesting dynamic that
Yeah.
tends to happen. But it has opened up so many doors for me in general with speaking engagements and being invited onto podcasts like yours to talk about and share about my story. And one interesting thing right now is having some conversations with the folks at TEDx to do a talk there and starting the approval process. So it's really exciting. I feel that really can open a lot of doors for anyone that wants to become an author.
And, I love that you said it's like people, they read your book before they meet you. They feel like they know you already. So think about like
Yeah.
when you're trying to sell a client or, get a new client, they don't know anything about you. They're just learning from the first time. Like we just met here on this. We don't really know much about you, but it's like they feel like they're a good friend of yours already because they've read the book. And it gives you that little edge up, I think, for someone to know, like, and trust you by having that and it's in their hands beforehand. So I think that's really cool.
It does. It really establishes rapport. And think about this, Melanie. If you met someone, let's say you met me for the first time, we were at an event at a conference, and one of two things could happen. We could meet and have a conversation,
Mhm.
and I could hand you my business card and you have that. But what if instead I handed you a copy of my book and said, hey, let me sign it for you. This is a gift for you. And you took that home. Maybe you read it on the flight home and learned more about me. Which would make a bigger impact to you and which would be more memorable for you,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. Definitely memorable, right? I mean, now I really, because how many times you come home from one of those conferences, you have all these business cards, and then you're like, who is this guy? I don't remember what that guy looked like. Because you've got 20 cards, and you're like, I can't remember who's who, and you're all mixed up. But when they have a book, it has a picture of you on there for your being an author. It has your bio on there, like, oh yeah, I remember this guy. This is the note investing guy. Even if they
Yeah.
don't even open your book, and most people are so curious that they at least read one page of your book. They read something of your book. They don't just have it, take it home and throw it on the side. It's very unusual. They're always like, "Hmm, let me see what's in here. Let me grab a paragraph here or read the description or something." So, and tell us, you also got involved in some anthology compilation books. How did that happen and why
Yes.
did you decide to do that? And was that before you had done your individual book or afterwards?
Yeah, it was after. I definitely did it after, and it's the inverse of how a lot of people get started with writing.
Yeah.
What I and how it happened was through some mutual connections. I met the organizers that were putting together a book series about based on Napoleon Hill's classic and iconic book, Think and Grow Rich, that
Nice.
many, I'm sure many investors, many business owners are familiar. This was the book that started the self-development movement,
Hmm.
written in 1938, long ago by Napoleon Hill.
And still
And
relevant.
so it's still relevant. So if you're familiar with that book, Think and Grow Rich, in that book, Napoleon Hill laid out the 13 principles to riches. And so this book anthology is set up where there's 13 volumes, one for each
Ooh,
chapter of Think and Grow Rich. And so it's on topics such as faith, organized planning, specialized knowledge, mastermind, imagination. Each volume of the book is all 33 authors coming together to write about their experiences, the impact from Think and Grow Rich in the context of that particular
yeah.
principle. And so when you read it, you get all of these different perspectives from a diverse set of backgrounds. It's
Mhm.
really cool. And what I love about these books is that you can just pick it up and flip to any chapter and start reading it. You don't have to read
Yeah.
it cover to cover. And so that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. I have it sitting on the coffee table and I'm sitting there, I'll just flip it open and start reading, or a guest that's over at my house will come and they'll do the same thing and say, "Oh, wow, this is interesting." And so that's been a wonderful journey for me participating in that anthology because makes me have to do a deep dive into the
Yeah.
subject matter and go back, and I've read Think and Grow Rich multiple times, but this is really a deep dive. Like, I have to read the chapter on imagination and then reflect on what's my experience of
Yeah.
this chapter? How has it impacted my life? And then I write about that. And so it's been really an introspective journey for me as an author.
You've had, I imagine, a lot of personal growth having to be introspective and think about, well, what do I think about imagination? What do I think about a mastermind? These different things you have to really redefine and say, I have to define this and actually write about it now. So I
Yeah.
think that's part of
And it's all,
authorship.
it is, and it's all from our personal perspective. We all
Mhm.
have stories, life experiences, and that all
Yeah.
becomes a part of the book that we share with others.
Think that's great. So what is your writing discipline? Are you a talker? Do you talk it out? Do you get up in the morning and write it? Or what do you do to get your other book done in these chapters?
Yeah, my discipline is that I write in the morning. I think this is unique to each individual person. You find where your creative window of the day is. For some people, it's early in the morning. For others, it's going to be late at night.
Yep.
And there's no right or wrong answer. But what for me, I found that my creative hours are early in the morning. And so that's when I write. I organize my day where all my creative and writing tasks are done in the morning. And I don't do any meetings or phone calls until the afternoon. And I schedule that purposefully so that I'm utilizing my time in the most
Hmm.
efficient manner possible. And when you do that, it accelerates your outcomes, accelerates your productivity, and you're doing your best work at the best time. And so for me, I love writing. I write every day, I journal, and being involved in book series. I end up having a writing deadline about every 2 months. So that really keeps you on your toes, where almost every day I'm blocking out some time to write. And I don't do it by talking. I know a lot of folks
Hmm.
love their auditory, they love talking into some kind of transcription
Uh-huh.
or do it on your smartphone and then transcribe it. I write out a skeleton and then I start filling in the gaps. And I might spend one day, all I do is do an outline and framework. And then the next day, I'll come back and pick one spot that
Yeah.
is calling out to me and I'll write about that. And then the next day, I'll go back in and do a different section. That's my approach. But you really find what works well for you and the way you work best. But when it comes to writing, I always feel like just sit down and start. Even
Yeah.
if you're going to trash what you wrote, it doesn't matter. It gets the wheels turning, gets the gears going. And when you get into a good state of flow, that's where you produce a lot of wonderful work.
That's great advice. Just start. Even if it doesn't look good, you're like, "Oh, that was bad." But at least you got it the wheels going, and then you can improve on it too. And picking that best time of day when you're at your peak performance that you can think and it's quiet and clear and you have that time to do it. Do you handwrite everything out and then type it, or are you typing it on the computer?
I'm typing on the computer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll handwrite things or outlines, those I'll
Mhm.
handwrite, but mostly on the computer. Yeah.
And I love that you don't have to, like, go in order. "Oh, I gotta start with chapter 1, and the first thing under chapter 1," you're like, "No, what is inspiring me today that's on my mind out of all these things, these chapters that I have?" And just go from there. You can make your own rules. I really like that about you. You're sharing that you can make your own rules when you're writing that book.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you ever have writer's block?
I did. Yeah, I had writer's block for sure and wasted a lot of time and got frustrated and different things. And you know what? I feel like if someone says I have writer's block, it's a self-imposed limitation. It's a limiting belief.
Ah,
And if you focus on that, then yes, you're right. You have writer's block. What if instead you don't focus on that and you sit down and write anyway? And
oh,
maybe you're not writing your book, you're writing thoughts and ideas. And
yeah,
just put that down. And then the next day you can come back to it and say, oh, I like this thing. I'm going to expand it here.
yeah,
That's the approach. Yeah.
I like that.
Write something, write, even if you're going to throw it
Mhm.
away, it doesn't matter. You're just getting in the groove. You think about the journey of 1,000 miles always starts with the first step, right?
Yeah,
And so that's it. You get going and it's not going to be perfect. It may be messy and that's fine. There's plenty of opportunities later to go back and refine what you did. Or you may write 6 chapters and you'll toss 4 of them out
yeah.
because you weren't happy with them. But then you have 2 that are gold and
Mhm.
then you expand on that. That could happen. And that's okay. Be okay with that. A lot of times the growth and the creation comes from the journey you're on,
Mm.
not that you're just mechanically out this text. Oh, I got to have 1,000 words a day. That's what I have to do. It's not going to be like that. You may have
Yeah.
a day where you have 100 words that you're happy with, and then another day where you put out 4,000 words because you got really going and you decided, hey, I'm going to delete my whole calendar for the day and keep going because I'm on a roll here.
And, I like what you're saying too. It's like it's the journey that you're learning. Even if you didn't like the 1,000 words that you wrote, it's still with self-discovery going through that part of the process. You learned something and you're like, "Nope, that wasn't it. This is more powerful." And you can apply it to your life, to your business, to so many different things. I think that's really important that you say that. So let me ask you this. Would you encourage other people to write a book for their business?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I would. I think that it can be one of the most powerful ways to market your business and to give an opportunity for your potential clients to learn about you and develop a deeper connection with you. And then from there, like you said earlier, the know, like, and trust, it
Mhm.
goes a long way to building that. And you may have one client that they read your book and they talk to you, they meet with you, and they say, "No, don't think this is a good fit." And then they don't do business with you, and that's fine. And then you have another potential client that they'll read your book and they say, "Oh, this is my guy. I want to work with them no matter what." And now you've earned a client for life from
Yeah.
that. And it brings you into alignment with the right customers for you to be doing business with. And that's very valuable because if you're doing business with the wrong customers or customers that are not a good fit, it can be horrible and it can be such a drain on your energy and not doing anyone any good.
So true. And, think of the lifetime value of a client when you say you have the right client is usually a repeat client, that it's not just a one time, they stay with you either for a long time and they keep buying from you over and over again. And they're going to refer more right clients
Yeah.
for you.
The referrals. Yes, absolutely. So to answer your question, a resounding yes, it's a good idea to write a book for your business, about your business, and sharing your stories.
Yeah.
It's a chance to share your stories. You can share stories about your clients and the results they've gotten, all from the relationship they've had with you.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Well, Fred, thank you so much for coming by today and sharing your story and encouraging other authors to write and some of your expertise in that field. And you can just tell you're passionate about it. I can see you lit up when you were talking about writing. So it's very encouraging to people. So tell people where they can find you.
Thank you. Yeah, best way to reach me is to visit my website, which is fredmoskowitz.com. And if you prefer a little bit of an easier spelling, you can go to giftfromfred.com. You can connect with me there, learn about my books. And you can also find me on amazon.com. Just search my name, and some of the different books will come right up. I always look forward to connecting with you, and please reach out, visit the website. And thank you for having me on, Melanie.
Terrific. Thanks, Fred. And if you're thinking about writing a book, reach out to us at eliteonlinepublishing.com. We work with authors all the time. We like books that are inspirational, motivational, and educational, and our authors' bestsellers. We'll see you next time. Keep writing, everybody.
If you want to write a book and become a best-selling author, you're in the right place. At Elite Online Publishing, we can help you create, publish, and market your book so that it becomes a #1 bestseller. We work with a limited number of authors to ensure that they receive the best possible service. So if you want to learn how to write and publish a book that will empower you to smartly grow your brand, business, and credibility, apply today. We look forward to working with you.